Hello and welcome to our guest internet presentation about using Starlink to provide an internet service for a community. This presentation will cover everything you need to know to get your system up and running, including the network configurations, the products that you need, and also how to use the software and make basic configurations. Before using Starlink, note that you should check that your use of the service meets the terms and conditions that they have. A note about Fire Force systems. We have three brands. One is Guest Internet, which I'm going to talk about today. We also have a brand called Orthonet Cybersecurity and a brand called EasyWisp for wireless internet service providers. Now, Starlink has become very popular to provide internet access for remote rural communities, especially in areas like Latin America, the Caribbean, and Africa, where the network infrastructure is very basic. The infrastructure provides a service in urban areas, but in rural communities, there is no internet service whatsoever. We've had customers using our products with HughesNet for several years. HughesNet is available in 4 countries in Latin America, and they've used that to provide a service for remote communities. Now, many people have switched to Starlink. It provides a better performance than HughesNet, lower latency, a little bit more expensive, but it's a great service for a small community of people who want to have access to the internet. Now, this presentation is divided into a series of sections, and I'll explain each one as we go through the presentation. First, let's have a quick review of Starlink. Starlink theoretically provides internet anywhere. The Starlink SpaceX company can they have the ability to disable service in areas that they choose, but basically it covers the whole globe. The Starlink system is a low Earth orbit satellite system. Eventually they'll have 30,000 satellites, and with that number of satellites, it's certain that there's always 1 or 2 satellites overhead at any location. Each satellite communicates with the Starlink antenna and then retransmits that information to a ground station within the country. This diagram shows the arrangement. The Starlink antenna is installed by the user. We have a Starlink wireless router, and we connect our computers using the Starlink wireless router Wi-Fi. The Starlink antenna communicates with a satellite that's overhead, and the satellite then communicates with the ground station, which connects to a high-speed internet circuit, the internet backbone. Now, there are many locations around the world without internet service. We know about many locations because people have purchased our products. We've been making guest internet products since 2010. And so many rural locations have been using our products to provide an internet service for the community. Sharing a service like Starlink, for example, between a community means that each member of the community is not going to have fast internet. But for a community that has no internet versus a slow internet, the slow internet is very important for the community. Some of us are old enough to remember the first time we used the internet with a 57K, that's kilobits modem. And so the speed for the community is certainly better than that. Today, guest internet products are in use in the areas shown. These are areas where communities are choosing to share an internet service. Obviously, guest internet products are used in many more locations. Many more products are used in the United States, all over North America for applications such as hospitality. But these figures illustrate where we have communities, rural communities sharing the internet service. So the question is how to share the internet service. Well, we've developed a technology that allows any type of service to be shared. It works obviously with satellite services like Starlink and HughesNet. Works also with ADSL, cable, fiber. We have customers using 4G LTE and 5G modems in order to share the internet service. And so it has algorithms that ensure that no one can abuse the service in order to provide a good performance for everyone. And the most important thing is that guest internet is very easy to use. It's not necessary to have technical qualifications. The person who is able to use a computer and set up a wireless access point also has the same skills that are needed to set up guest internet. A lot of hospitality applications are set up by the hotel manager. There's no need to call a technical person to do this configuration. So guest internet has a number of methods of sharing the service. For communities, they prefer to have the voucher method, whereby we print sheets of vouchers, each with a unique access code, and then cut up the sheet to provide individual vouchers for each person. Now, the access code has parameters associated with it. It has a duration, which means that the person has a limited time of internet access, a day, a week, a month. It also has parameters like maximum upload and download speeds. It has parameters like the number of people that can use the code simultaneously. And with the guest internet system, it's possible to print up to 10,000 vouchers at one time. Now, the vouchers can be printed for an individual gateway, like that shown in the diagram, by connecting to the gateway, or vouchers can be printed using the free guest internet cloud service. And the guest internet cloud service prints vouchers for a group, and there is no limit to the number of gateways that can be connected to that group. And so it's very easy to expand a service from one wireless access point to many wireless access points throughout a community. We'll look at this in more detail during the course of the presentation. Now, once a person has the voucher, then the person connects to the wireless, and the voucher can have instructions that explain how to do that. The user sees a login page and enters the code into the login page. And so once that code is authenticated, then the person has access to the internet for the duration that's specified by the code, and also for the data speeds and data limits that are specified by the code. Now, the process of using the vouchers is that vouchers are printed, passed to the user, and the user gets the internet access for a limited amount of time. And this is how the access to the internet is shared between the community, because restrictions are placed on each member of the community. And so each member of the community takes advantage of the service, the limited service that they have. When the system is installed, it's necessary to put the wireless access point at a high point, maybe a building roof or a tower, in order to get line of sight for all the people who want to access the internet. Wi-Fi is very important, that the person wanting to connect to the antenna has visibility of that antenna, because the Wi-Fi signal can be blocked by buildings, by trees. And the same for the Starlink antenna. That must have visibility of the sky, which is horizon to horizon, 180 degrees, in order to ensure that it can track satellites as they move across the sky. So the Starlink antenna connects to the guest internet product. The guest internet product connects to the wireless access point, and we print the vouchers to give to the people who want to use the internet service. It's very easy to provide a service for a town because we seek a high point to install the antenna. That might be a hill outside the town. It might be a tower. And we want to ensure that each home can have a line of sight to that antenna. And for longer distances, each home should have an antenna on the roof with a wireless, we call a client premise equipment, and then that can connect to a wireless router inside the home. A mobile device connecting to the antenna might have a range of maybe 100 meters or 200 meters, whereas a home with an antenna on the roof can have a range that exceeds 1 kilometer. And so it's very important to have the wireless equipment in place to maintain a good communication. Now, the vouchers that the system prints have a number of parameters. We have the text box, which is the name of the service providing the internet access. We can add a logo that illustrates the business. Then we have instructions, a text box that we can tell people how to connect to the wireless and what they should do once they get the login page. And finally, we have a random alphanumeric code that authorizes the person to access the internet. And finally, an optional message that explains the duration that the code is valid for. Now, this process diagram illustrates how we print the vouchers. We connect to the cloud or the gateway. We create the codes. We send them to a printer, and then we cut up the sheet of vouchers into individual vouchers. In Latin America, for example, these vouchers, they may be called fishers or may be called chips. It depends on the country. Each country has a different name for them. We have a printer called the GIS-TP1, which is a print on demand that might be suitable for some applications. And so we can set up a tablet with up to 10 buttons, and pressing a button generates a code with the same information as the voucher, but on a thermal printer. And so the diagram shows how that code appears and the information on the printer. There is another option which some of our customers have used. That is creating scratch-off cards, which can be sold in a supermarket, for example. Create, let's say, 10,000 codes, download them as a CSV file, comma-separated value, and then send that file to a printer. That's a business that prints the scratch-off cards. These are very popular for phone minutes, popular for lotto, that type of application. And so there's several businesses that print these cards. And so these cards make it maybe easier to sell the voucher because the code is hidden until it's scratched off, and then it's clear that the voucher has been used. Now, I'm going to explain some network configurations that might be used for community wireless access. First of all, it's necessary to set up the Starlink antenna, and the top left, top right diagram shows this arrangement. The antenna is connected to the Starlink router. It's necessary to have the Ethernet adapter to use the guest internet products, which is a device that Starlink sells on their website, and then connect a computer with Ethernet. The Starlink router has Wi-Fi, and we can connect a phone app to the Wi-Fi, which indicates the data speed. That data speed refers to the connection of the antenna to the satellite. The data speed on the Ethernet port is somewhat slower, and we can measure that using a browser with fast.com. And that speed is the basis that we use to calculate how many people can share the service. Now, the next diagram shows the guest internet GISR4 gateway connected with a wireless access point, and then mobile devices can connect to the wireless access point to get internet access. We suggest that the maximum speed per user is set maybe around 2% of the measured speed, which might be 2 to 3 megabits per second. And that would ensure that 50 concurrent users would not cause congestion over the satellite antenna link. We want to avoid any type of congestion. And so the person providing the service would limit the number of vouchers that were given out in order to limit the number of users. More users can be added, but the maximum speeds have to be set to a slow value, or else data limits are put on the codes. We have wireless products as well. That's the GISK7 can connect via Ethernet to the Starlink router for a simple installation. And people use this for mobile devices. And in fact, with an Ethernet switch, several of the GISK7 products can be connected to the Starlink antenna. And the process of printing the vouchers and distributing the vouchers is just the same. The GISR4 gateway has a wireless access point, and that diagram shows the distance, maximum distance to a mobile device, providing that the mobile device has visibility of the antenna. And that would be about 100 to 200 meters. It's not a long distance because the mobile device really doesn't have a good antenna. And so that would be the radius around the antenna to have a connection to the internet. The alternative is to provide a directional wireless access point, which can provide a connection to homes. And the homes would have an antenna on the roof, which connects to a wireless router inside the home. And this is called fixed wireless access. A lot of the 4G LTE and 5G cellular companies offer fixed wireless access. And basically, they sell a modem installed in the home with a simple antenna. Better range can be obtained by putting an antenna on the roof of the home, and they provide a monthly service. This type of service is what we call an on-demand service, where people purchase the internet access as they need to use it. In this type of configuration, we have a much longer distance. If we have good directional antennas, then we can have a distance to the home, maybe 1 kilometer, maybe up to 5 kilometers, depending on the quality of the wireless products and the antennas. And this obviously is line of sight. There has to be visibility between the two antennas in order for this to have a link. We can configure one installation which provides mobile user access and also fixed wireless access. So we can have a wireless access point with an omnidirectional antenna that's providing access in some central location for mobile devices. And then we can put a directional antenna on a tower, which provides fixed wireless access to homes. So the antenna would be pointing towards the homes. We would need several directional antennas to provide coverage of 360 degrees around the tower. Now, the home connection is a directional antenna. This shows a photo of a directional antenna on a roof for Wi-Fi, and that connects back to the tower that has a directional antenna, directional wireless access point. Inside the home, we want to provide wireless, and so the wireless unit on the roof, we call that a client premise equipment with a directional antenna, connects down through a power supply to a wireless router in the home. And so with this installation, the residents of the home have internet access. There we set the speed of the CP radio to the main antenna. And so the people in the home share that speed. And so if we set, for example, a maximum of 2 megabits for the connection to the home, then the people in the home share a connection of 2 megabits. And so if 4 people are using the connection, the data speed of each one sums up to 2 megabits. Now, this diagram illustrates the type of network that we might build with Starlink antennas. And so we may provide a number of antennas throughout a community. Maybe the community is small and only one Starlink antenna is required. Maybe the community is larger, a town, and we can install several Starlink antennas, each with one or more wireless access points to connect to the customers. We may want to provide internet access for a number of small villages in a region. And so each village will have a Starlink antenna. And the guest internet products are managed through the guest internet cloud service, which is used to be able to administer each location. We can monitor each location for failure, and we can print the vouchers that we then hand out to the community or sell to the community members. When we look at the point-to-point link, it's unfortunately a technical issue that we have to consider. So if we have our line of sight, our visibility between the two antennas, we have to consider that we need actually space around that point, and that's called the Fresnel zone. And so we have to have no obstructions within a certain radius, and the diagram illustrates that, and we can calculate what that radius should be. Because if we have an obstruction, not necessarily in the line of sight, but within the Fresnel zone, then it will cause the connection to deteriorate, and the speed may fall, for example, and be interrupted. So a summary of the features. The Guest Internet Cloud has all the features required to create and print vouchers. The voucher design can be printed by the service provider. The voucher has codes with duration, speed limits, and byte limits. We can personalize and brand the login page. Guest internet products are low cost and ready to share the internet using vouchers. There are no additional charges for guest internet products after the purchase. There's no additional fees, annual fees, that type of thing. Guest internet products are very easy to use. No specialist skills are required. As I said, if you're able to use a computer and you're able to set up a wireless access point, then you're qualified to install a guest internet product. Products have excellent performance. The way guest internet products are designed, we use very high quality chips, very fast chips. We have very high performance software, and so we ensure that the users will be satisfied with the performance of the Wi-Fi. Now we have the K-series wireless products, They're powerful with a long range. And in fact, we can set up a network so that customers can roam throughout the network and stay connected. And I'll tell you more about this later in the presentation. The products are durable, they have a long life, and very quick to install, and it's very easy to get the Wi-Fi service up and running quickly. The guest internet product connect to any type of internet provider, and this presentation we're illustrating Starlink, but we have many of our customers using other services like HughesNet, even DSL services, or even repeating 5G services. We provide free technical support and free software upgrades, which is something that no other business provides. And our software is provided in Spanish and English. Our documentation is also provided in Spanish and English. Now, one of the important features of guest internet is the ability to scale the service, to build large networks and have roaming throughout the network. And so we can build a network with several locations. Each Starlink antenna has one or more wireless access points, which provides a service. And so the user who has the access code can connect to one antenna and then move to other antennas and stay connected to the internet. Now, this is a very powerful service. Works very similar to the mobile phone service. And this adds a lot of value for the person who's providing the service or the business that provides the service for the users. The method that is used is a cellular handoff. And so each location, each guest internet gateway is a cell in a network. And so the cloud hands off the customer from one cell to the next. And so it keeps track. The information about the users are stored on each cell, and the cloud coordinates the movements of the user between the cells. And so we can build a network for a town or even a small city with many antennas. And what we need to do is also have a coverage map so that we know which areas have access to which antennas. One of the issues that many of our customers face is that they're going to set up an internet service in a remote location that has limited access to power. And so we may find that the people in the community have electrical power only for a certain time of the day, or they may be generating their own electrical power using solar arrays or wind power. And so we want to ensure that we have electrical power for the Wi-Fi internet system. And so we build something like this. We combine solar panels and wind turbines to charge batteries, usually a 24-volt battery. And then we can convert that into 110 volts or whatever power we need to power our equipment. And we also would like to provide some type of environmental monitoring so that we can remotely monitor what's going on at this site to make sure everything is working. This is what it would look like in practice. A tower location would have a number of components in addition to the wireless components. Obviously, we've got the Starlink antenna, the Starlink router, the guest internet GISR4, and the wireless access point. Now, the guest internet products and the wireless access point don't consume a lot of power, maybe less than 10 watts each. The Starlink antenna does consume more power, usually in excess of 100 watts. And so the power system has to be built in order to provide the power that the Starlink antenna needs. And so that might mean at least 250 watts of power generation, more likely 500 watts of power generation. And this can be combined between solar and a wind turbine. These connect to a battery charger, which charges a couple of batteries for 24 volts. And then we take the power to the power inverter, which converts the 24 volts to 110 volts, or we can also convert to other voltages that the equipment might need. This diagram is a schematic showing the arrangement of the components, how they're connected. So you can see it's a very simple installation. Obviously, the solar panel needs to be adjusted so that it has a view of the sky according to the hemisphere that you're located, whether it's the northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere. So we want to get the maximum sunlight on the solar panel, and the wind turbine may need to be put on top of a tower in order to get the high-speed wind that's blowing across the countryside. An installation might look like this, where we have the solar panels, we have the wind turbine on a mast, and then we have the wireless equipment that we need, like the Starlink antenna, the directional antenna for the community, and this installation shows the camera, which is used to monitor the installation remotely. And then we have also point-to-point antennas to connect to specific locations. So let's look at alternative methods of connecting the internet for a community. It may be that a community has alternative methods of connecting to the internet, and they want to share these methods. Okay, one method might be to connect to a remote 4G LTE or 5G tower over a point-to-point link, and then distribute that wireless connection with the community. With a 5G link, it's possible to have 200 or more megabits of speed. Now, the 5G link may not be accessible by mobile phones because the distance is too great. But if a directional antenna points towards the 5G tower, then it's possible to communicate over a much longer distance, much further than a mobile phone will communicate. And so we can make the connection to the tower using a wireless modem, a 4G LTE or 5G modem, connect that to the guest internet gateway, and then connect a wireless access point for the service for the users, maybe homes or mobile devices. And we have many customers who use this type of system. There are alternative satellite networks, such as the HughesNet. The HughesNet is different to the Starlink service. The Starlink is low orbit satellites, around 300 miles in height. The HughesNet satellite is a geostationary satellite, which will be just over 22,000 miles high from the planet in order to ensure that it's synchronized with the rotation of the planet. And so the HughesNet antennas have been used by our customers for many years. They provide a great service. The data speeds are slower than Starlink. The latency is higher than Starlink, but the cost is low. And so it's an option for people who are looking for alternatives. HughesNet is a little bit limited because the geostationary satellite has a directional antenna which points at certain parts of the world. And so HughesNet is currently available in 4 countries in Latin America only. The process is the same as the other installations. We print vouchers and give the vouchers to the users. We can also get a point-to-point link from a remote location. So we may have a distant location where we do have a connection to the internet, maybe a fiber connection. And so we can set up a point-to-point link, providing that we have line of sight to the community that we want to provide the internet service for. So those are some alternatives that may be interesting to some people. Now, let me explain how to configure the guest internet equipment, because that's often the part of the process where people are most concerned because they think it's technical and complicated, but I want to show you that it's pretty straightforward. First of all, a little review of the guest internet products. We have wireless products and we have gateway products. We also have some higher performance gateways for applications like hospitality, but these are the products that will be used to manage the Wi-Fi for communities. Well, the first time that a guest internet product is connected, we connect the WAN port to the internet, and we connect a computer to one of the LAN ports. And opening a browser, we see the setup wizard, which allows us to set up the equipment very simply. And this is in Spanish or English, so you can choose the language that you want to use. The first step is to check the internet connection. We need a good internet connection. And so the gateway will check the speed and the latency of the internet connection and advise us if it's suitable. It's very important that the internet connection meets the requirements of the gateway, because if it doesn't, it would mean that maybe the users of the internet service get an intermittent service or maybe a variable service. So we want to make sure that that service is good quality. The next step is to set the time zone. This is important because this is how the duration of the codes are calculated. Based on the location, the guest internet unit communicates with time servers on the internet. And so it needs to know where the unit is located in order to calculate the correct time. We also want to create a password for the administrator. This should be a password that has numbers, letters, uppercase, lowercase, and special symbols. The next page is to configure the login page. This is an auto configuration process, and we do have alternatives for the login page. But this process is very simple to use. First of all, we select the background from one of the pictures shown, and then we provide a little bit of information about the service that people will see when they connect to the login page. And we want to help them through the connection process, and so we provide that information here. We can also provide the website address of the service that's providing the internet for the people. Guest access control, we have a number of different methods. The setup wizard shows two: unlimited access and controlled access. Unlimited access means the login page has the button to agree to the terms and conditions. The controlled access means that the login page requires a code to get access to the internet. And so we select the controlled access option, okay, because we're going to give out codes for people to connect to the internet. And we can also provide at this point login instructions that ensure that people know how to use the service. And so after this, we just reboot, and then we move on to a few other configurations. Next, we log in using the AP login/admin. If we put AP login, we get the login page. So we put the /admin. We have to provide the username and the password that we created in the setup wizard. And the screen shows the page that we see. This is called the dashboard or the system information page. There are colored panels which give us fast access to reports. And then there's information that we may use, for example, the serial number. If you want to request support, you provide the serial number and then the firmware version, okay? So that our support engineers can identify what type of equipment you're using, okay? And if you need to contact support, then go to our website, guest-internet/support. Now, the first step in the configuration is to enable cloud management. We're going to use the cloud to manage this device and generate the codes. We can generate the vouchers on the device, but we're looking to manage the device remotely because the person providing this service is not going to be on site at the antenna all the time. And the person also may want to add additional antennas. And so this is the reason why we use the cloud service. So we need to check the box, click the change settings button to ensure that we can then later use the cloud service. We can create a custom login page. The login page that was created by the setup wizard is shown in the figure. It's a basic page that provides the information with a box to enter the code. One of the configuration options is to upload a background picture. And this would be a picture in a JPEG format and must be less than 196 KB. We do this by going to the login page settings, and we see there that we have three options. We can use the wizard, we can upload the custom background, or we can upload a custom login page. And the custom login page can be programmed simply using HTML. And if we want to test our custom login page, we have a simulator on our website that is very easy to use. So it's not necessary to have a product to test the login page. And so the colored box there shows the selection that we would use the setup wizard, the background, or a custom login page. Now, if we want to upload a background, then we select that option and then we choose the file that we want to upload. Remember, a JPEG less than 196 KB. It's good to have a JPEG that is smaller, because the smaller the file size, the faster the login page will load. And here's an example of a custom background. A marina, took a photo of the marina, uploaded that as a custom background. And so it's a way of personalizing the display. The marina could have added maybe the logo or some additional information onto the background image in order to provide a more customized service for the visitors. Now, the custom login page can be generated using HTML. You can use JavaScript as well if you wish. Okay, you can pull down images from a remote server, but remember that the bigger the size, the slower the login page is loading. You know, you've been to websites which are very complicated, have a lot of images, and they take several seconds to load. Here's an example of login pages, custom login pages. The one on the left is a resort, and the one on the right is a restaurant chain. And so these have actually been created as what we call a walled garden, where when the person opens a login page, the person can navigate around the website. And the person only sees the login box when an attempt is made to go to any other website. And so this provides a very clear method of providing information for the users, and also provides a good image for the person or the business providing the service. We have templates on our website that you can download and start programming. These are basic HTML templates, and so it makes it very easy for anyone who's ever designed a website. It's possible to get HTML5 templates from vendors and then make a login page using an HTML5 template. And it's only necessary to put one HTML line in order to position the login box. So it's very, very easy to program. We have failure monitoring and alerting, and we have two levels of failure monitoring. The first level is on the guest internet gateway product. We can monitor the wireless access points for failure, and we can put information in there to tell us which access point failed. And so when a failure is detected, the gateway will send out an email message. And that email message can have the information that a field service technician requires to go and repair the problem. In order to send out emails, we need to configure the email page. And this can be done using an SMTP server or done using our cloud server. And our cloud server is the easy way to do it. The SMTP server may require a little bit more configuration. This page shows the cloud server setup. Now, we can use the cloud to print vouchers. I mentioned that we can actually print vouchers on the gateway, but if we're putting several gateways and managing those gateways through the cloud, then we want to use the cloud to print vouchers. For those people who are not familiar with a cloud service, it's an internet server that we operate and manage that provides a method of accessing gateways that are added to that service and managing them, monitoring them, and ensuring that the network is performing correctly. Now, we can add gateways to a cloud account, and we can add gateways to a group. And so we can have several groups. Maybe the person providing the service is providing a service for 3 towns. And so we can have 3 groups, and each town has, let's say, 10 Starlink antennas and wireless access points. And so each group can have 10 gateway products. And so it makes it very easy for the person providing the service to manage all the equipment in that network. And each group can have vouchers printed, and so those vouchers will work with any one of the antennas within that group. And so management of the service is very easy. You don't need a big company or a team of people to manage the internet service for a number of villages or towns. It can be done from one laptop very easily. And with the monitoring, we're not only monitoring the wireless access points, we also monitor the guest internet gateway products, and we monitor the Starlink connection as well. And so we get an alert via email if anything fails. And so we know exactly what we have to do to correct the problem. Now, to begin using the cloud account, first of all, we create an account and we enter the serial number of the first guest internet product. We can then add subsequent serial numbers. Next, we want to configure the failure monitoring. Next, we want to create a group. Then we want to add the gateway products to a group. If we want roaming, then we configure that. Next, we design the voucher that we want to print. We create the access codes, and then we can print up to 10,000 vouchers. And finally, we cut the vouchers up and give those to the people who want the internet service. Those are the steps. I'm going to show you how easy it is by going through the screens. So first of all, open a new cloud account, and you can find the link to that from our website or use the link shown on this page. And so we have to enter a username, select the type of guest internet device, and enter the ID of that device. And then we provide information about the person or the business that's going to provide the service. The next step is to add other gateway products to the account. And so we do that on the gateways page. We use the add gateway box, and there is no limit to the number of gateways. We have customers with hundreds or even thousands of gateways added to a cloud account. The only thing we need for each gateway is the hotspot ID or the serial number, which is on a label on the product or can be found by logging into the product admin page. We want to create a group and then add the gateway to the group. And so we select the group that we want to add the gateway to and click on that group and update. We want to configure the network reliability. We can set monitoring for each of the gateway products in our network. And so we can determine that we're going to set a time after which we want an alert. It could be that there's a temporary interruption in the internet service. Maybe it will continue. And so here it's shown that we want an alert if the system is down for 5 minutes. And we also put in the email address where we're going to send the alert. And this could be a field service technician. Next, we want to create the voucher design. And we do that with the code ticket settings. So we're going to put the title. This is exactly the same that I showed you previously with the voucher. We upload the logo, and then we enter the information that the person will need to access the internet. We check the box to show the time, and then click the update for the update template. So then we're ready to start printing vouchers. And when we print vouchers, they look like this. The vouchers are printed 16 per sheet in a 4x4 format, and the diagram shows the information that can be added to the voucher. This is just the same as the voucher that's can be printed using each guest internet gateway. Now, when we want to print vouchers, we select the group that we want to print the vouchers for. And then we go to the codes page, and we can select the parameters of the code. So if we want to print more than one code, it has to be a random code test, an alphanumeric sequence. We select the expiration time. It can be 30 minutes to unlimited. We select the download and upload data speeds and the download and upload data limits. We select the number of codes we want to generate, and then how many people can use the code simultaneously. And this is normally 1. And then we click the button to create the codes. And so we see the codes listed, and we see 2 options: print the codes file or download a CSV file. Remember, if we want to send the codes to a printer for scratch-off cards, we need to download the CSV file. If we want to print the vouchers, then we select the print code file and send all those vouchers to the local printer. So when we click there, the screen looks like this. This is actually a Windows display with the Chrome browser. This will vary according to the type of computer and browser that you have. But then we click to send this to the printer. And so we have a sheet of codes, and then we just cut them up into individual vouchers. We also have features on the cloud to monitor the gateway and monitor the group. And this monitoring is very important because we can look at the WAN throughput. And one of the characteristics that is important to monitor is the usage of the WAN network. We want to ensure that we're not overloading that circuit, because bad things happen if we try and move too much data over that circuit. We don't want our circuit to go into what we call congestion, because that's going to cause problems for our users. And so we want to look at the data usage of the WAN network. This might be the Starlink antenna, and ensure that it's not reaching the point of congestion, which means that the network is being used all the time. This is not good. Starlink will probably flag this as bad use of the network, and also this will cause problems for the people using the network. If we can work at 50% throughput, then that will be great. Gives us a little bit of a ceiling in order to have peak file transfers. Now, finally, I'll explain how the guest internet system works. People ask about this. And so we have a couple of diagrams here that explain it. You can see that each location has a guest internet gateway, and the gray box shows the what goes on inside the gateway. The wireless units have the wireless part included. The gateways have external wireless access points. Generally, the gateways with wireless access points are going to provide a better level of performance than the wireless units. And so you can see that we have the captive port, the login page, and people can enter a voucher code. There's also an option for credit card billing, which we didn't enable in this case, but it's there available. So we want to verify the code. And so we have a database in the device, which we can check there. And then if we don't find it there, we check the database in the cloud. And once the code has been identified, we fetch the parameters of that code in order to initiate the timer duration for that code. And so we connect the person to the internet. We also take the information from that code to apply to the firewall rules, which is the maximum speed that that person can connect to the internet. And we also have other features, like we have an application program interface on the gateway device and on the cloud. And that's something that a business that has software to manage users may want to use to integrate with the guest internet system. That's the next step, maybe, to build a very large system. We also have the status monitor, where we're monitoring performance, and we're going to get alerts if performance goes out of spec. And so we can connect a computer to the gateway, and we can manage the gateway, and we can print codes. We can also, using our cloud admin computer, print codes that are used for all the devices in the group. So the next diagram shows that we can have a number of different gateways, all managed from one cloud account, and the cloud has the features that we need to manage the service. And plus, the cloud will provide us with better reports than the gateway could, reports not only of single gateways, but also of groups. And we also have some historic data in the cloud, so that we can look at what's been happening over the past 7 days, for example. So in summary, we are putting together the information to help you build your service. You're going to need Starlink antenna or a similar type of service, Usenet. You'll need the guest internet gateways, but you'll also need wireless products. And our products plus wireless products can be obtained from our North America's distributor, Flytech Computers. And so their contact information is available on our website. We also have some free ebooks that explain how to build these systems. They go into much more detail than this presentation did. There's the book, Learn How to Make Money, or Aprende a Ganar Dinero Vendiendo Acceso a Internet. So it's available in English and Spanish, which is how to use the guest internet service to sell internet. And then we have a couple of other books, Wireless Internet Service Provider. This is the next level. This is how to build a very large network. And this also is available in English and Spanish. Construyendo un proveedor de servicios de Internet inalámbrico. Sorry, my Spanish is not too good. So the links are there to download the books. And we also have on our website a lot of useful information, not only product data sheets, we have application notes, and we also have a lot of training material which will help you get up to speed. If you have any questions about this presentation, please contact us. Our contact information is shown there. We have a contact email and a contact phone number. Please also follow us on social media. We publish information daily that will help our customers achieve the best possible results. So thank you for watching, and please stay tuned for our next video. And we're here to help you. So contact us if you need any help with any type of application that you're looking at. Thank you very much.